Trading up. The boy awoke and licked his lips. There was the slightest taste of yesterday's fish still on them, and even that faint trace was exquisite. The bear had fried the fish in a small pan on his tea-making stove, lit as ever, at arm's length, and with comically extreme care, and they had eaten it with their fingers and paws, the juices dripping messily down their faces, each of them rapturous at their release from hunger and at the glorious deliciousness of the fish. If their stomachs could have danced for joy, they would have. Then for a little while they had sat happily in the moonlight, and talked and joked. The bear had even tried to teach the boy a sea shanty, but it seemed to the boy that the tune kept changing each time the bear sang it, and then, when the boy finally thought he got grip on the melody, the bear would lose his way on the ukulele, or forget the words and bring songs to a stuttering halt for a while. Then he would begin again, in a different key, possibly on a different song entirely. It was hard to tell. It was an awful racket, to be honest, but their laughter sounded sweet enough in the pauses, and at some point the boy had fallen asleep, and slept more deeply and dreamed more happily than ever he had since they had set off. Now the taste of yesterday's meal on his lips roused his hunger. His stomach grumbled. Yesterday's fish had been amazingly tasty, but it hadn't been so very big, and it had been yesterday. The boy's stomach, having been reminded what it was there for, was keen to get back to work. The bear's was clearly thinking along the same lines. It rumbled deeply. The boy's tummy gurgled a harmony. "You can take a turn with the fishing rod if you like," said the bear. "See if you can catch us something. I'm going to keep rowing." The boy was quite excited at the prospect of fishing. He'd never really seen the appeal before when he'd seen grown-ups doing it for fun. How was it fun sitting very still for a long while with nothing happening? But now that it was a way of not starving to death, he began to see the point of it. His first attempts at casting the line didn't go too well. With one try, he managed to get the hook caught in his coat, which was scrunched up on his seat, and hurled it out into the water. Another time he tangled the line around one of the oars and set the bear growling at him for interfering with his rowing. Eventually, though, the boy realized that he could just lower the rubber duck into the water and then gradually unreel the line as the boat moved. Once the duck was far enough away that he couldn't easily see it, he would reel the line slowly back in and then start again. He did this again and again, and though he was disappointed each time he failed to catch anything, he found he was not especially frustrated. He was patient, more or less, and though the bear had remained silent throughout, offering neither advice nor discouragement at any point, the boy sensed that he approved. The sky was as cloudless as ever, the sea was still, and the only sounds were the splish, splish, splish of the oars, and a pair of grumbling, rumbling stomachs. But the boy was not bored. He was doing a job to the best of his ability. The sun was warming, the breeze was fresh. He felt good. Very, very hungry, but good. Peaceful. Contented. Calm. And then the duck ducked. "Oh!" said the boy. "Ah!" said the boy. "What the said the boy to the bear as he pointed at the spot where the taut fishing line met the surface of the water, the bull's eye in a target of ripples. The bear watched the boy with calm amusement, slowing the pace of his rowing but saying nothing. The boy turned his attention back to the fishing line, pulled back hard on the rod, and began winding the reel. It wasn't easy. The tension in the line was tremendous. He sat down on the middle bench, squelching onto his coat that he laid out to dry there, and braced his feet against the rear seat. The rod bucked in his hands as if trying to wrench itself free and leap into the sea, but the boy held it firmly, heaved back on it, saw it bend alarmingly above his head. He wondered if it might break in two, or else surely the line would snap.